in the state. Let's first understand the modus operandi and who actually operated the mafia.
Huge amount of cash was recovered from IAS officer Sameer Vishnoi's house. This in the case of Chhattisgarh coal mining scam. But how was this cash recovered? We will make you understand the modus operandi behind this. Now, the modus operandi clearly states that earlier the movement of cash, the movement of coal mining, how the coal went about in the state and about other states was through an online portal. That means through online portal, the movement of coal took place, which was very transparent and the transactions were quite clear. But later on, rupees 25 was collected for per ton of coal that was allowed to move. Rupees 25 per ton. Now that's a huge amount. We're just talking about 1 ton of coal. Remember, the coal that is being circulated, that is being moved about in the state and other parts is huge amount. And rupees 25 was collected per ton. After this 25 rupees that was collected was received via a cartel. Now, who owns this cartel? This cartel is owned by Suryakant Tiwari. Now, Suryakant Tiwari is said to have alleged political links. And viewers, if this is true, then it might be a big lead in the Chhattisgarh coal mining scam, because Suryakant Tiwari is actually the main cartel, the main person who owns this cartel and who runs this mafia. This is what the modus operandi was, and as a result, massive, huge amount of cash was recovered from the residence of the IAS officer.
Enforcement Directorate has arrested Chhattisgarh-based IAS officer Sameer Vishnoi in connection with a prevention of money laundering case pertaining to disproportionate assets. Let's understand what was the role of this IAS officer. How exactly is he connected to this entire coal movement that was taking place? Let's try and understand. One, the fact that Chhattisgarh happens to be one of the largest coal producing states. Several buyers who wanted to take coal from the state, for every movement taking place in the state, there was a commission that was being paid. This commission was going to the cartel, and only after the receiving of the commission were passes being given for the movement of coal. Take a look at the details of the role of this IAS officer, from whose residence cash was also recovered. We'll get you exclusive pictures of those recovery too.
This officer that we have been talking about, Sameer Vishnoi, has been arrested in the case. But what was his role? What was the key role that he was playing in the Chhattisgarh coal mining scam? Well, in 2022, he issued a circular. What was that circular? That circular was about how NOCs have to be approved so that you can transfer the coal. Now, this has to be done via a payment. Only after payment is done, only then the coal movement was allowed in the state. This was the clear criteria. Now, remember, this was the circular that was issued by Sameer Vishnoi, who, viewers, is an IAS officer. This circular was stated that only after payment of rupees 25 per ton of coal was made, only then the coal will be allowed to move. And as a result, what was the result? The result was that in 16 months, 500 crore rupees was collected. It was not just about 1 crores or 2 crores, but viewers, in 16 months, just 16 months, 500 crore cash was recovered through these illegal payments. Now, the ED has arrested Sameer Vishnoi, and other bureaucrats, politicians and businessmen are also under the ED lens.
Getting us up with breaking news and exclusive images now accessed by Republic TV of the recovery that has been made from the residence of the IAS officer. A total of 4 crore rupees have been seized by the enforcement directorate. But part of the money was also recovered from the residence of IS officer Samir Vishnu. Importantly, about 47 lakh rupees in cash and about 3 kilogram of gold was recovered by the enforcement directorate from the residence of IS officer Samir Vishnu. All of this happens to be completely unaccounted. He was called in for questioning after the recovery was made from his residence. Not sure at this point in time whether he's been able to satisfy the agency in terms of where exactly did the money come from. We'll also explain the role of IS officer Samir Vishnu as far as this entire scam is concerned. Let me also bring in my colleague Tarisha, who's joining us on this broadcast from the Delhi newsroom. Tarisha, 4 top bureaucrats of Chhattisgarh are now under the scanner of the enforcement directorate. It's not about smuggling. It turns out that the IS officer passed an order sometime in 2020. An online procedure turned into a manual procedure so that district collectors, along with that entire cartel, could actually make money from simple movement of coal in the state of Chhattisgarh.
Right, Shravan, the circular that we have been talking about, that we have explained in our graphics element, I have this circular right here with me, and this is quite exclusive. I would like my camera person to zoom onto this circular. It's quite uncomprehendable from here because the text is quite small. But remember, the date here is 15th of July 2020. Now, this is the circular that we have. It's a 2-page circular where this circular, remember, is issued by the IAS officer Samir Vishnoy, and in this circular he clearly mentions how the online portal will now be stopped and the cash will be collected via physical transactions. Now remember, this cash was 25 rupees for per ton of coal that is to be moved in the state. Now 25 rupees might seem like a mere amount, but remember, it's just for 1 ton of coal. Now remember, it's always huge amount of coal that is transferred to the state, and 25 rupees per ton is a huge amount. And through all of this, in past 1 year, we also have the data that that almost 16 crore has been recovered, and the fresh recoveries that we have made, that the ED, I beg your pardon, has made from Samir Vishnoy, the IAS officer's residence, is about 47 lakh. And not just the cash, ED has also recovered 3 kg of gold and diary entries which showed almost 10 lakh of cash transactions that took place. These are all diary entries mentioned, and the ED sources are now telling us that huge amount has been recovered, and the IAS officer Samir Vishnoy, who circulated this particular circular, has now been arrested.
Well, just one more quick question I wanted to ask you, Tarisha, with regards to this particular order that was passed by the IS officer who's now been arrested by the enforcement directorate. What really changes? Because as we understand, before this order came into place, all of this was computerized. All of this was online. So if I wanted to buy coal from the state of Chhattisgarh, I had to put all of this, a request online, get the pass, and the movement of coal could have taken place. But surprisingly, what this order does is that it turns into a manual process. I need to get an NOC from the district collector. I don't get it till the time the money is paid to the cartel. Also, if you can just show the order once again.
Right. Remember, online transactions. Right. Shravan, remember this circular. This circular clearly states that a physical copy, that a hard copy of the NOC has to be collected from the district collector. Before this circular came into place, online transactions were made, online portals were there for your permission that has to be taken. Now remember, online transactions are always safe and transparent because you have a detail of all transactions that has taken place. But this circular clearly states that no online transactions, no online portals will now be in use, but cash recovery, NOCs has to be taken from the district collector, and only after the payment is made, only then coal movement will be allowed in the state. Now remember, because this is all physical payment, it is all in the papers, data can be erased, can be removed, and later on they will have no, the ED, the officials will have no track of data that is being, the transactions that is being exchanged between two parties. So it was a quite smart move by this IAS officer Sameer Vishnoi in the circular that he's issued. Quite a smart move to keep all transactions very opaque, no transparency, so that the illegal scam that we say isn't caught. Shavan.
Well, that's the latest details we're getting you on a story that has been completely blacked out by all other networks. We're getting you full details of how this could snowball into a larger political blame game, given the fact that certain decisions that were taken by the IS officer was that at the behest of the political class. That is something that is now being investigated by the Enforcement Directorate. Stripping into a short break. On the other side, getting you the other big story on This Is Exclusive. Journalist Rana Ayyub has been named in a charge sheet filed by the Enforcement Directorate.
$11,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
Supreme Court delivered a split verdict on the hijab controversy in view of the divergence in opinion. Justice Hemant Gupta upheld the Karnataka High Court order, while Justice Dhulia stated that it's a matter of choice.
2021, the Indian economy was all geared up.
We are headed for greatness as a nation. We will be a superpower. If there's something that I want to see in our lifetime, it is to have our best living years as a citizen of a superpower.
Now there's a new goal, Mission Superpower. Witness the India growth story. Republic Media Network brings you India's biggest economic summit.
Karnataka Education Minister B.C. Nagesh welcomed the Supreme Court verdict and stated that the ban on hijab to continue in classrooms across Karnataka.
We welcome whatever the judgment we have received today from the Supreme Court. But we had expected a better judgment because, as you know, that throughout the world, women are demanding not to wear hijab, not to wear burqa.
Time to once again action our destiny. Focus on Mission Superpower. Witness the India growth story. Republic Media Network brings you India's biggest economic summit.
Supreme Court delivered a split verdict on the hijab controversy in view of the divergence in opinion. Justice Hemant Gupta upheld the Karnataka High Court order, while Justice Dhulia stated that it's a matter of choice.
From an emerging economy, now the fifth largest economy in the world, India has seen exponential growth in the last 8 years. The preferred investment destination of the world now has a goal, Mission Superpower. Union ministers, bankers, investors, policymakers, thinkers. Republic Media Network proudly presents the second edition of the India Economic Summit. This October 14th, only.
Karnataka Education Minister B.C. Nagesh welcomed the Supreme Court verdict and stated that the ban on hijab to continue in classrooms across Karnataka.
We welcome whatever the judgment we have received today from the Supreme Court. But we had expected a better judgment because, as you know, that throughout the world, women are demanding not to wear hijab, not to wear burqa.
the world supermarket. The world is ours for the taking. Witness the India growth story. Republic Media Network brings you India's biggest economic summit.
Karnataka Education Minister B.C. Nagesh welcomed the Supreme Court verdict and stated that the ban on hijab to continue in classrooms across Karnataka.
We welcome whatever the judgment we have received today from the Supreme Court. But we had expected a better judgment because, as you know, that throughout the world, women are demanding not to wear hijab, not to wear burqa.
Time to once again action our destiny. Focus on mission superpower. Witness the India growth story. Republic Media Network brings you India's biggest economic summit.
Supreme Court delivered a split verdict on the hijab controversy in view of the divergence in opinion. Justice Hemant Gupta upheld the Karnataka High Court order, while Justice Dhulia stated that it's a matter of choice.
Last year, we were all geared up.
This network is proof that everything in India is greenfield. Is it time for the Republic Network to do a spectacular intervention in global digital news media or not? It's my passion project. So that is our consecration to making India a superpower.
Well, journalist Rana Ayyub has now been named in a charge sheet that has been filed by the Enforcement Directorate over the alleged money laundering linked to funds that she collected from the public for social welfare work, including COVID-19 relief. And the big breaking that we are for you is that the Enforcement Directorate charge sheet clearly mentions that Rana received about a total of 2 crore 69 lakh rupees, and not just this, the unutilized funds amounts to approximately 2.4 crore rupees. What's important to point out here is that about 29 lakh rupees, that's the amount that she's actually used so far. In fact, Rana Ayyub has put out a statement. We'll also put that out in a short while from now, but documents that have been accessed by Republic TV, the statement that was given by Rana Ayyub to the Enforcement Director. On this, I'm joined by my colleague Niranjan, who's joining us from the Mumbai newsroom, and my colleague Alisha, who did try to get a version from Rana Ayyub. She did actually visit Rana Ayyub's Mumbai residence to get her version on the damning allegations that have been leveled against her. First to you, Niranjan, just walk us through the details that you are picking up from the charge sheet, the statement of Rana Ayyub that has now been accessed by Republic TV.
Well, Shravan, some of the details we've broken, already, and you accessed those details as well. But from what we are picking up now, just to break down further the extent of this charity scandal, it appears that the documents submitted by Rana Ayyub to the Enforcement Directorate, this is an assessment order, and it appears that Rana Ayyub received about 2.7 crore rupees. 2.7 crore rupees through goodwill, the public, and all the people and her followers and her campaigns. We know that she's got a huge social media following. Not sure how much of it is organic or genuine, but certainly it appears that she has social media following. And through that, and using her network, of course, she's very, very well linked to Lutyens and many other foreign publications, and many of them use her most often to carry out, their agenda. In this particular case, it appears she collected 2.7 crore rupees, 3 campaigns in all, and most of these campaigns were on the Keto platform. We are hearing, out of which nearly 80.5 lakh rupees, nearly 1/4 of it was in foreign currency, which means most of the money was also coming in from outside of India. First, there was no foreign, contribution clearance. There was some violation there in the FCRA norms. It also appears that she stated that roughly 60 to 70 lakh were spent for relief work. She claimed, that is Rana Ayyub claimed, that she had spent about 60 to 70 lakh rupees on relief work. But the analysis of the relevant bank statements or credit card expenditure shows that the amount of relief work or the amount of money spent on the relief work, it appears, was only about 28 lakh rupees. So Shravan, she collected 2.7 crore rupees, claiming it's all for relief and charity. She told the ED and all these agencies that she spent about 80 lakh rupees and more, or up to about that much on relief work. But actual amount of money that she spent on charity was only 28 lakh rupees. So the scam is that she cheated the public, that gave her money and funds. Out of 2.69 or 2.7 crore rupees, she spent about 10% of 28 lakh rupees only. Where did the rest of the money goes? It gets even more murkier. Rana Ayyub is not allowed to collect donations, by the way, under from foreign countries, because she's a journalist and it's a violation of FCRA. And unutilized funds, Shravan, was about 2.5 crore rupees, 2.4 crore rupees, and it appears that a lot of that money went into fixed deposits, bank accounts, her own bank account, etc. So it's a scam of a charity collection. Shravan.
Thank you very much. Niranjan, I'll get a quick word from Alisha, because we're told that Rana Ayyub has now put out a statement. Alisha, just quickly take us through the statement that has been put out by Rana Ayyub. What is her defense now?
Well, yes, Shravan, it's a statement that has been released by Rana Ayyub, which clearly mentioned that I have learned from media reports that the ED has filed a charge sheet in the PMLA case initiated against me. It is noteworthy that the ED had provisionally attached my bank account funds, including my professional income, but the attachment proceeding was stayed by the Delhi High Court, and the attachment of funds has not been confirmed. The fund raised by me for COVID support.
बताया गया कि हाँ ये ऑफिशियल रिकॉर्डिंग हो रहा है। मैंने कहा कि इसका मुझे कॉपी चाहिएगा, क्योंकि ऑफिशियल है तो मेरा अधिकार बनता है कि मैं जो कुछ आपके सामने बोल रहा हूँ और जो रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है वो सारा मुझे मिलना चाहिए। फिर सारे लोग मिलके मुझे धमकाने लगे, डराने लगे कि क्या हो गया, क्या नहीं हो गया, क्या चीज़ है, क्या नहीं है। कुल मिला के अगर आप देखेंगे तो इस पूरे वाकया में कहीं पर भी नोटिस को लेकर के एनसीडब्ल्यू का कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं था। उनका इंटरेस्ट था मुझे धमकाने में, मुझे डराने में, मुझे बद्दी तरीके से गालियां देने में उनका इंटरेस्ट था। और अंत में जब उनका ये इंटरेस्ट खत्म हो गया, फिर पुलिस को बोल दिया कि उसको उठा के ले जाओ, थाने में रख दो। ये क्यों हो रहा है? ये सारा जो आज पूरा दिन जो घटनाक्रम हुआ है, ये इसलिए हुआ है कि गुजरात में चुनाव आ रहे हैं। इस चुनाव में पाटीदार समाज बीजेपी के खिलाफ खड़ा हो चुका है। पाटीदार समाज आम आदमी पार्टी के समर्थन में खुल के बाहर आ रहा है। चूंकि बीजेपी पार्टी गुजरात में पाटीदारों से नफरत करती है, पाटीदारों से बहुत चिढ़ती है। पिछले कुछ साल पहले पाटीदारों के 14 युवाओं पर बीजेपी की सरकार ने गोलियां चलवाई थी और 14 युवाओं को उसने एक तरीके से मर्डर कर दिया था। बाकी जो बच गए उनके ऊपर हजारों फर्जी मुकदमे लगा के हजारों युवाओं को जेल में बंद कर दिया था, उनका करियर खराब कर दिया था। फिर बीजेपी को लगा कि कितनों को गोलियां मार दी, कितनों को जेल में भर दिया, तब भी ये पाटीदारों में से आने वाला गोपाल इटालिया कैसे बच गया, कैसे बच के आगे निकल गया। ये साधारण सा पाटीदार युवान कैसे किसी पार्टी का प्रदेश अध्यक्ष बन गया, कैसे ये युवान बीजेपी को चैलेंज कर रहा है। इसको हैरान करो, इसको परेशान करो, इसको सताओ, किसी भी मुकदमे में डालो, इधर उधर कहीं से उसको बदनाम करो। पूरी बीजेपी पार्टी
In view of the split verdict on hijab by Supreme Court on hijab ban, the apex court has directed the matter to be placed before the Chief Justice of India, Justice UU Lalit, for appropriate directions. Karnataka Education Minister B.C. Nagesh welcomed the Supreme Court verdict and stated that the ban on hijab to continue in classrooms across Karnataka.
We welcome whatever the judgment we have received today from the Supreme Court. But we had expected a better judgment because, as you know, that throughout the world, women are demanding not to wear hijab, not to wear burqa.
It's the Diamond Jubilee of the Indian Air Force and celebrations are on at Jammu and Kashmir.
2 women in Kerala were murdered and buried in a horrific case of human sacrifice. Over 200 families in Assam's Dhimaji district have been affected by floods due to heavy rainfall.
Supreme Court delivered a split verdict on the hijab controversy in view of the divergence in opinion. Justice Hemant Gupta upheld the Karnataka High Court order, while Justice Dhulia stated that it's a matter of choice.
2021, the Indian economy was all geared up.
We are headed for greatness as a nation. We will be a superpower. If there's something that I want to see in our lifetime, it is to have our best living years as a citizen of a superpower.
Now there's a new goal, Mission Superpower. Witness the India growth story. Republic Media Network brings you India's biggest economic summit.
Karnataka Education Minister B.C. Nagesh welcomed the Supreme Court verdict and stated that the ban on hijab to continue in classrooms across Karnataka.
We welcome whatever the judgment we have received today from the Supreme Court. But we had expected a better judgment because, as you know, that throughout the world, women are demanding not to wear hijab, not to wear burqa.
Time to once again action our destiny. Focus on Mission Superpower. Witness the India growth story. Republic Media Network brings you India's biggest economic summit.
Supreme Court delivered a split verdict on the hijab controversy in view of the divergence in opinion. Justice Hemant Gupta upheld the Karnataka High Court order, while Justice Dhulia stated that it's a matter of choice.
From an emerging economy, now the 5th largest economy in the world, India has seen exponential growth in the last 8 years. The preferred investment destination of the world now has a goal, Mission Superpower. Union ministers, bankers, investors, policymakers, thinkers. Republic Media Network proudly presents the 2nd edition of the India Economic Summit. This October 14th, only.
Karnataka Education Minister B.C. Nagesh welcomed the Supreme Court verdict and stated that the ban on hijab to continue in classrooms across Karnataka.
We welcome whatever the judgment we have received today from
No end to the 10-month-long hijab row. Top court pronounces split verdict on hijab. Split verdict on hijab in light of the divergence of opinion. Karnataka High Court order remains in full force. No stay on hijab ban whatsoever. Samajwadi Party parliamentarian sparks fresh row, says no hijab means misbehavior for women. Fresh trouble for Rana Ayyub. ED News Titans files prosecution complaint against Rana Ayyub. Amidst symbol row, Uddhav faction alleges foul play by the EC is Uddhav nervous ahead of the by-polls. Days after the reports of the new BCCI chief, Saurav Ganguly breaks silence, says everybody gets tested and rejected. The Supreme Court delivered a split verdict on a bunch of pleas challenging the Karnataka High Court's judgment upholding the ban on students wearing hijab in Karnataka's educational institutions. Here is a full report.
The much anticipated hijab verdict is here. The top court has delivered a split verdict in the hijab case.
Justice Dhulia is giving out reasoning as to why he stated this. He says a girl child in areas does household work and chores before going to school. We are making her life better by doing this, and therefore I have respectfully deferred in this case, only dealing with Article 19 and 25. He also says it was just a question of choice. I have held the ratio in Bijoy Manual squarely covers the case. One thing which was topmost for me was education of the girl child.
The two-judge bench of the Supreme Court differed on the matter, while Justice Hemant Gupta backed the Karnataka High Court order backing the ban. Justice Sudhanshu Dhulia was against the hijab ban, calling it a matter of choice.
पहले ही भारत में ऐसा सोच आ चुका था। अभी सारे वर्ल्ड इस सोच को, इसका सोच के बारे में वो लोग सोच कर प्रोटेस्ट कर रहा है, और हिजाब का बारे में, बुर्का के बारे में कर्नाटका क्या बोला वही अभी प्रपंच बोल रहा है।
Justice Dhulia respectfully differs with his opinion, and he has based his judgment on the ground that a girl child faces a lot of problems while going to schools and colleges. She does the chores of her house and before she joins the college and school, and therefore the court has held, and he has allowed all the petitions, set aside the GO passed by the government of Karnataka and set aside the order passed by the Honorable High Court of Karnataka.
Both the judges have left it to the Chief Justice of India to decide the next course of action. This essentially means that the hijab ban will stay as per Karnataka High Court order, and the matter will now go to the Chief Justice of India. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
It's a mega showdown in the national capital where Aam Aadmi Party leader Gopal Italia, who hurled insults at Prime Minister Modi, was detained and later released. He held a press conference just a short while back after the release where he brought in the Patel community angle, saying that BJP is targeting him. Take a look at this.
आज जब मैं गुजरात से यहाँ आया अपना स्टेटमेंट देने के लिए, अपना पक्ष रखने के लिए, तो मुझे बिना कुछ बताए, बिना कुछ कहे सीधा अरेस्ट कर लिया गया, थाने पे बिठा दिया, सुबह से यहाँ बिठा दिया। क्या कसूर है मेरा? मैंने कोई चोरी नहीं किया, लूटपाट नहीं किया, बलात्कार नहीं किया, मुझे क्यों बिठा दिया? क्योंकि मैं एक पाटीदार समाज का युवा हूँ। बीजेपी पार्टी पाटीदारों से नफरत करती है, क्योंकि पाटीदार समाज बीजेपी से नाराज़ है और बीजेपी के खिलाफ आम आदमी पार्टी को सपोर्ट कर रहा है। यही वजह है कि बार बार मुझे टारगेट किया जा रहा है। क्या कसूर है मेरा? हमने कौन सा ख़राब काम कर दिया इस देश में जो थाने पे बिठा रहे, NCW बुला रहा है? इस देश में तो बहुत से लोगों ने बहुत कुछ ना करने की कोशिशें करी है। तो कुल मिला के चीज़ ये है कि बीजेपी पाटीदारों से नफरत करती है। बीजेपी को इस बात का चीड़ है कि एक छोटे से गांव देहात से आने वाला एक लड़का कैसे पार्टी का अध्यक्ष बन गया, पटेल का लड़का कैसे पटेल इतने सारे निकल के राजनीति में आ गए। नफरत करते पटेलों से, और इस नफरत में इतने अंधे हो चुके हैं कि गुजरात से यहाँ बुला के यहाँ थाने में बिठा दिया। बताइए क्या कसूर है मेरा? तो हम तो यही कह रहे हैं ना, हम देश के लिए लड़ रहे हैं, समाज के अधिकारों के लिए लड़ रहे हैं, और बीजेपी जो है वो सत्ता का मिसयूज़ कर रही है। आपने देखा आज।
The Supreme Court on Thursday has delivered a split verdict in the Karnataka hijab ban case, with one of the judges upholding the March 15 High Court order validating the ban and the other setting aside the High Court ruling and calling wearing of the apparel as a matter of choice. Split order by the Supreme Court stated that the ban on hijab in educational institutions will remain in the interim. Furthermore, the matter will now be decided upon by the Chief Justice of India. It's likely to be referred to a larger bench. Days after the Gujarat Aam Aadmi Party Chief Gopal Italia was summoned by the National Commission for Women for his derogatory remark on Prime Minister Modi, the party today staged a protest outside the Commission's office in New Delhi. National Commission for Women Chief Rekha Sharma slammed Gujarat Aam Aadmi Party Chief Gopal Italia for creating a ruckus outside her office in Delhi. Notably, NCW has now summoned Italia in connection with a video where he was seen using derogatory language for the Prime Minister Modi.
एक्सप्लेनेशन के लिए एक समन किया था, लेकिन इनके आने से के साथ साथ आपके जो बहुत सारे वर्कर हैं टोपी और बैनर्स के साथ यहाँ आए और मेरे जो डोर है, हमारा जो गेट है बाहर, उसको पुश करने की और एंटर करने की लीगली कोशिश की गई। बहुत मुश्किल से हमने उनको रोका और बाद में पुलिस को भी इसीलिए बुलाया गया क्योंकि हमें लगता था कि ये किसी भी प्रकार की हानि पहुंचा सकते हैं बिल्डिंग को भी और लोगों को भी।
The Gujarat chief of the Aam Aadmi Party was detained from the National Commission of Women's Delhi office this afternoon over a controversial video in which he was allegedly heard using derogatory language against Prime Minister Modi. Soon after Aam Aadmi Party controversial leader Gopal Italia was detained by Delhi police, Aam Aadmi Party minister Manish Sisodia hit out at the BJP, saying what else can be expected from the BJP.
जो लोग गोपाल इटालिया को डिटेन कर रहे हैं उनके पास सिर्फ इतनी राजनीति है, उनको स्कूल ठीक करने नहीं आते, उनको बच्चों को पढ़ाना नहीं आता। 27 साल हो गए उनको सरकारें चलाते हुए, उनसे एक स्कूल शानदार नहीं बना। गोपाल इटालिया को इसीलिए अरेस्ट कर रहे हैं क्योंकि उनकी गोपाल इटालिया ऐसी पार्टी से आता है जिसको स्कूल बनाने आते हैं, बाकी कुछ नहीं है, बाकी ड्रामा।
The ED has filed a charge sheet against journalist Rana Ayyub on the basis of an FIR lodged by the Indirapura police station in UP in a money laundering case. It mentioned that she illegally acquired funds from general public in the name of charity by launching fundraiser campaigns on an online crowdfunding platform. Big win for Uddhav camp in Bypolls as court directs PMC to accept resignation of Rutuja Latke, after which Uddhav camp is all set to file the nomination of Latke for Andheri East Bypolls tomorrow. India gave a befitting response to Pakistan after it raked up the Kashmir issue at a summit in Kazakhstan. And Meenakshi Lekhi, hitting out at Pakistan, said that Pakistan is the global epicenter of terrorism and continues to be the source of terrorist activities, including in India. The International Monetary Fund has lauded India's deployment of a direct cash transfer scheme by calling it a logistical marvel and said that there is a lot to learn from India. Viewers, much more coming up on the other side. Fresh trouble for Rana Ayyub. ED News Titans files prosecution complaint against Rana Ayyub. Days after reports of a new BCCI chief, Saurav Ganguly breaks silence, says everybody gets tested and rejected.
$11,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
Time to once again action our destiny. Focus on mission superpower. Witness the India growth story. Republic Media Network brings you India's biggest economic summit.
Supreme Court delivered a split verdict on the hijab controversy in view of the divergence in opinion. Justice Hemant Gupta upheld the Karnataka High Court order, while Justice Dhulia stated that it's a matter of choice.
Last year, we were all geared up.
This network is proof that everything in India is greenfield. Is it time for the Republic Network to do a spectacular intervention in global digital news media or not? It's my passion project. So that is our consecration to making India a superpower.
Now India has a clear goal, Mission Superpower. Witness the India growth story. Republic Media Network brings you India's biggest economic summit.
In view of the split verdict on hijab by Supreme Court on hijab ban, the apex court has directed the matter to be placed before the Chief Justice of India, Justice Ayyub, for appropriate directions. Karnataka Education Minister B.C. Nagesh welcomed the Supreme Court verdict and stated that the ban on hijab to continue in classrooms across Karnataka.
We welcome whatever the judgment we have received today from the Supreme Court. But we had expected a better judgment because, as you know, that throughout the world, women are demanding not to wear hijab, not to wear burqa.
It's the Diamond Jubilee of the Indian Air Force and celebrations are on at Jammu and Kashmir.
2 women in Kerala were murdered and buried in a horrific case of human sacrifice. Over 200 families in Assam's Dhimaji district have been affected by floods due to heavy rainfall.
Supreme Court delivered a split verdict on the hijab controversy in view of the divergence in opinion. Justice Hemant Gupta upheld the Karnataka High Court order, while Justice Dhulia stated that it's a matter of choice.
2021, the Indian economy was all geared up.
We are headed for greatness as a nation. We will be a superpower. If there's something that I want to see in our lifetime, it is to have our best living years as a citizen of a superpower.
Now there's a new goal, Mission Superpower. Witness the India growth story. Republic Media Network brings you India's biggest economic summit.
Karnataka Education Minister B.C. Nagesh welcomed the Supreme Court verdict and stated that the ban on hijab to continue in classrooms across Karnataka.
We welcome whatever the judgment we have received today from the Supreme Court. But we had expected a better judgment because, as you know, that throughout the world, women are demanding not to wear hijab, not to wear burqa.
Time to once again action our destiny. Focus on Mission Superpower. Witness the India growth story. Republic Media Network brings you India's biggest economic summit.
Supreme Court delivered a split verdict on the hijab controversy in view of the divergence in opinion. Justice Hemant Gupta upheld the Karnataka High Court order, while Justice Dhulia stated that it's a matter of choice.
From an emerging economy, now the 5th largest economy in the world, India has seen exponential growth in the last 8 years. The The preferred investment destination of the world now has a goal: mission superpower. Union ministers, bankers, investors, policymakers,